If your mind absorbs these 47 principles of wealth, it means you are ready to make money. Have you ever stopped to think that your mind may be deciding every day whether you'll be rich or whether you'll remain stuck in the same old cycles? What you believe, what you repeat to yourself, what you feel when you think about money, all of this is shaping your reality. And most importantly, it's shaping your relationship with wealth. The first step to making real money, not just surviving but thriving, isn't in the outside world. It's not in new opportunities, higher salaries, or brilliant ideas. The real turning point is within you. In how you view money, how you view rich people, how you view yourself. This is what defines the limit of your prosperity. Most people live as if wealth was something distant, difficult, almost impossible. They grew up hearing that money doesn't grow on trees, that you have to suffer a lot to have something, that the rich are different, and that people like us don't get there. As a result, they create invisible walls that prevent any possibility of change. And even when they try, they do so with fear, doubt, guilt, and that sabotaging inner voice telling them, "This isn't for you." But what if I told you that this voice can be silenced, that these walls can come down, that the mind can be reprogrammed to create a new path, a new story, a new financial destiny? That's exactly what happens when you absorb the right principles, when you accept exchanging the scarcity mindset for one of abundance, when you decide to break free from the cycle of survival and begin building the cycle of wealth. Before you begin the teachings, make sure you've already hit the like button. But only do this if you truly desire to attract wealth into your life. And say out loud right now, "I am ready to prosper." Also write this in the comments if you feel your transformation begins today. The mind needs repetition. It needs to hear, feel, and become accustomed to a new frequency. So right now you're not just listening to words. You're initiating an internal reconfiguration. You're planting new ideas, new possibilities, new mental codes that, over time, become powerful beliefs. And these beliefs are the foundation of everything you'll build from now on. You don't need to understand all the principles at once. What you need is to be willing to open yourself, to listen with your heart, and most importantly, to practice. Wealth is not a destiny, it's a behavior, a way of living, thinking, and acting. Every decision, every thought, and every emotion you have regarding money or your ability to prosper directly influences your reality. This isn't magic, it's pure logic. And that's what most people never understand. Think about it. Why do some people rise from nothing and become rich, while others spend their entire lives struggling without getting anywhere? The answer lies in the mind. It doesn't matter where a person comes from. What matters is where their mind has already reached. It matters how much they believe they deserve. It matters how willing they are to abandon their old identity, the one programmed to live at a minimum, to embrace the new version that is ready to live at its maximum. You may have heard your whole life that wealth isn't for you. You may have lived in environments where settling for less was the norm. You may have felt ashamed just wishing for more, but all of that can change. Because the brain is plastic, it learns, it adapts, and if you want, it can become a machine for attracting abundance. You just need to feed this machine the right commands. And what are these commands? They are principles, principles of wealth, principles of expansion, principles that reprogram your way of thinking and feeling, that replace the old patterns of, "I can't do it," "This isn't for me," "I'm unlucky," with new patterns. "I create my reality," "I have control over my destiny," "I am capable of building the life I want." But be careful, this isn't a passive process. It doesn't happen just because you're listening to this content. It requires presence, determination, and practice. You need to live what you're learning. You need to repeat it, write it down, and declare it. You need to visualize the person you're becoming every day. Above all, you need to believe that all of this is possible for you. Most people remain stuck because they only listen but don't apply. They listen but don't believe. They listen but soon return to the same old cycle. And then nothing changes. Because nothing changes until you change. No tool, no course, no video, no book. Nothing will work if your mind isn't truly committed to turning the key. And that key begins with decision. The decision to no longer accept scarcity as normal. The decision to stop justifying your current situation with old excuses. The decision to abandon the identity that feeds on victimhood and embrace the identity of those who create, those who act, those who transform. Wealth doesn't play favorites. It responds to those on the same wavelength as it, and frequency is built with thought, emotion, habit, and intention. You are emitting a frequency right now. What is it saying to the universe? Is it saying you want it but doubt it? Is it saying you hope but don't believe it? Or is it saying I am determined, ready, and committed? This is where it all begins, not with fancy techniques, not with easy promises, but with the inner alignment between thought, emotion, and action. It is in this alignment that power resides, because when you think wealth, feel wealth, and act like a wealthy person, even before you see the results come. They come because you have become compatible with them, and being wealth compatible isn't about how much you have now. It's about how much you believe you can have. It's about how you behave with what you have. It's about how much you trust that the next level is already available, and how willing you are to become someone capable of sustaining that new level. So, from now on, start observing your thoughts. Start choosing your words better. Start changing the way you view money. Instead of complaining that it's expensive, say, I'm becoming someone who can afford this easily. Instead of saying, I can't, say, how can I? This simple change in vocabulary already reprograms your mind to seek solutions instead of reinforcing limitations. Write in the comments now, my mind is opening to wealth. Do this to affirm your commitment to this new journey. Say it out loud if possible. Reinforce it. Declare it. Live as if it were already true, and it will be. In the following chapters, we'll delve deeper into each of the 47 principles of wealth. But remember, there's no point in absorbing knowledge if you don't put it into practice. What transforms your life isn't what you know, it's what you do with what you know. If you feel like this is the moment, keep going. Dive in head first. Repeat this content over and over. Visualize it, declare it, feel it. You are rebuilding yourself from within, and what changes on the inside inevitably changes on the outside. Let's continue the journey of transforming your mind, because wealth doesn't start in the bank, in your pocket, or at work. Wealth begins in the mind. And what you're doing now is exactly what separates those who only dream from those who achieve. You're feeding your mind the right food. You're reprogramming your internal structures. You're building brick by brick the mindset of a wealthy person. But here's a truth almost no one has the courage to say. You were trained to be poor. Yes, bluntly. Throughout your life, you've heard phrases, seen behaviors, and witnessed situations that have programmed your brain to accept scarcity as natural. Phrases like, money doesn't bring happiness. It's better to be poor and honest. Rich people don't get into heaven. That's for those with money. All of these become ingrained in your mind as truths, and if not deprogrammed, they become mental walls that block any attempt to prosper. What we're doing here is the opposite. We're clearing out this mental clutter and replacing it with true principles, principles that connect you with what you truly desire. Because deep down, you want to thrive. You want security, tranquility, freedom, comfort. And all of this is possible, but only if your mind allows it. One of the most important principles you need to grasp is this. You are not what happened to you. You are what you decide to be from now on. This means it doesn't matter if you grew up without money, if you never had opportunities, if you made mistakes, if you failed, if you're in debt. What matters is today's decision. Because the mind is like soil. If you keep planting the same seeds, you'll reap the same fruits. But if you start planting new ideas, new habits, new thoughts, in a short time your harvest will be completely different. And here comes another point that many overlook: the power of habit. The mind doesn't change with a single reading, nor with a motivational video. The mind changes with repetition, constant repetition, daily repetition. Repetition until the new thought becomes automatic, until the new behavior becomes natural. Therefore, each principle you hear here needs to be repeated, reflected upon, and lived. It's not enough to listen and think it's beautiful. You have to live it. A poor mind has poor habits. It complains about the price of things, lives counting pennies, is afraid to spend, is angry at those with money, thinks small, avoids taking risks, and sabotages itself whenever it starts to improve. A rich mind, on the other hand, has rich habits. It values money, invests in itself, thinks long-term, focuses on solutions, learns from mistakes, and sees opportunities where others only see problems. These differences separate those who are always broke from those who live in constant growth. So start observing your habits right now. How do you handle the money you already have? How do you talk about money? How do you react when you see someone prospering? These small actions reveal a lot about your mental programming. And that's where transformation begins, in consciousness. Another powerful principle: everything you feel about money shapes how it enters or doesn't enter your life. If you feel fear, guilt, anger, or shame when you think about money, your mind understands that money is something bad, dangerous, negative, and out of protection, it will distance you from money. Now, if you feel lightness, gratitude, enthusiasm, and possibility, your mind understands that money is something positive and starts working in your favor. So, start changing your emotional relationship with money. Instead of feeling guilty about getting rich, feel excited. Instead of thinking that being rich is wrong, think that being rich is useful. The more resources you have, the more you can do for yourself and others. Poverty helps no one. Wealth well used transforms lives. Another crucial point is what you say. Your words are direct commands to your mind. Every time you say, I can't, this isn't for me, your mind accepts it as truth and begins to keep you there. Now, when you say, I can, this is possible for me, I'm preparing for it, you shift your frequency. You begin to reprogram the very structure that keeps you stagnant. Words have power. Choose yours carefully. And more than words, you need to create mental images. The mind works with images. Everything you believe began with a mental image. So make it a habit to visualize. Every day, close your eyes and see yourself living the life you want. Feel it. See the details. Imagine what you would be wearing, where you would be living, who you would be with, what you would do with your time, how you would be helping others. This practice is not trivial. It's a powerful creative exercise, because your mind begins to accept that image as possible, and when it does, it begins to work to achieve it. But be careful, it's not enough to visualize and then return to old habits. The image needs to be accompanied by action, small daily actions. Actions that bring you closer to your vision. It could be studying more. It could be avoiding certain conversations. It could be better controlling your spending. It could be changing the way you react. It doesn't matter where you start. The important thing is to begin, because action reinforces thought, and thought with action creates reality. Little by little, you'll notice yourself changing. You'll notice your mindset is different. Your conversations have changed. Your attitudes are more aligned with the wealthy person you're becoming. And when this happens, the world responds, the universe responds, opportunities appear, doors open, because you're finally in tune with abundance. But remember, it's a process. There will be days when you feel tired, discouraged, even like giving up. And that's when most people stop. But that's also when the strong keep going. And the strong aren't those who never doubt. They're those who keep going despite doubt. They're those who, even when tired, keep going. They're those who understand that a rich mind isn't a destination, it's a lifestyle. And this lifestyle starts now, with every thought you choose to hold, with every word you choose to speak, with every decision you make throughout the day. Everything counts. Everything contributes to building your new reality. Don't underestimate any step, because success is made of daily micro-decisions. Write in the comments now, I am building my rich mind, and say it loudly. Say it to yourself. So your mind begins to accept that yes, it is possible. Yes, it is happening. Yes, you are ready. In the next chapters, we'll continue diving deeper into the principles of wealth, one by one, so that your mind can fully absorb them and finally become compatible with the money you so desire. Now that you've begun to realize how much your mind directly influences your financial reality, it's time to delve even deeper. Every thought is a seed. Every emotion that accompanies that thought is like the water that makes the seed grow. And every action you take is the soil where that seed will either flourish or die. The truth is simple. You are creating your financial future every day, even if you don't realize it. And what you create depends on where your attention is focused. The biggest trap of the scarcity mindset is the constant focus on what's missing. Lack of money, lack of time, lack of support, lack of opportunity. But the rich mind doesn't waste energy focusing on what's missing. It focuses on what already exists, what can be done now, what can be developed with what we have. It understands that what we focus on expands. Therefore, it focuses on solutions, possibilities, and growth, even when everything seems overwhelming. This is an essential principle. Focus builds reality. And here's the detail that changes everything. What you repeat often becomes true in your mind, even if it's not real. If you keep saying money is hard to come by, the world is cruel, things are getting worse, your mind absorbs this as fact and starts putting you in situations that prove it, not because the world wants to sabotage you, but because your mind wants to protect you. It wants to validate what you believe, and if you believe in scarcity, it will keep you in this cycle. On the other hand, if you start saying, opportunities are everywhere, I learn something valuable every day, when my money is growing, your mind starts looking for evidence. It starts identifying new possibilities, connections, ideas. This isn't magic. It's basic neuroscience. It's like resetting a GPS. If you change the destination, it recalculates the route. But if the destination remains the same, no matter how many times you stop, pray, cry, or complain, you'll keep arriving at the same place. And that's why one of the greatest principles of wealth is total responsibility. You need to take control of what you think, what you feel, what you say. It doesn't matter if things have been difficult up until now. It doesn't matter if you've suffered. It doesn't matter if no one helped you. If you keep pointing to the past as justification, you're handing over your power to something that's already gone. And those who live in the past repeat the past. The rich person with a rich mindset takes responsibility. They say, it may not be my fault, but it is my responsibility to change. This simple phrase takes you out of the victim role and puts you in the creator role. And those who create transform. Those who blame remain. Now think with me. What are you allowing into your mind every day? What voices do you listen to? What content do you consume? Who are the people you talk to most? Because all of this is directly influencing what you believe is possible. The mind works like a filter, and if you don't control what enters, it will be contaminated. It's that simple. So start cleaning. Avoid news that scares you. Avoid negative conversations. Stay away from people who only complain. Protect your mind as if it were a garden, because it is. And only what you cultivate with intention flourishes. Replace I can't with how can I. Replace I don't have with I'm building. Replace I don't know with I'll learn. These simple changes silently reprogram your mind. Another valuable principle is that of internal state. People believe they need to wait for something good to happen to feel good, but the rich mind does the opposite. It decides to feel good first. It understands that the emotional state is not a consequence but a cause. If you feel grateful, confident, and determined, you attract situations compatible with these states. But if you live frustrated, anxious, or insecure, you end up blocking opportunities without even realizing it. That's why every day you need to enter a state of wealth. Wake up and affirm, today I act like someone who is prosperous. Walk like someone who is building their financial freedom. Breathe like someone who trusts their own path. This changes your energy. And energy is everything. People notice, the universe responds, and your own mind begins to act differently. In fact, what you repeat mentally every day becomes your dominant pattern. If you catch yourself saying to yourself, I'm a failure, nothing works for me, no one helps me, stop immediately, correct it immediately, replace it with, I'm evolving, I'm finding solutions, I'm getting stronger. Your mind needs these new messages. And be careful, you don't have to wait to be motivated to start. Motivation is a consequence of action, not the other way around. The rich mind acts. It knows that action is the greatest remedy against doubt. When you take action, even if it's small, you gain confidence. And with confidence, you act more. This becomes a positive cycle, a cycle of prosperity. But if you wait to feel motivated to act, you'll remain stagnant, because fear is comfortable. Doubt is paralyzing, and nothing grows within stagnation. Another important principle is constant visualization of the end result. It's not enough to just imagine it once and be done with it. You need to keep the image of your victory alive. You need to see it several times a day. You need to feel as if it's already a reality. This practice activates your subconscious mind, which can't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. And if you imagine it with detail, emotion, and frequency, your mind begins to treat it as part of your world. And the more real it becomes inside you, the closer you get to experiencing it on the outside. Great athletes use this, successful people use this. And now it's your turn. Don't underestimate the power of imagination, because everything that exists today in the physical world was once an idea. It was once a thought. It was once something invisible. Another point that needs to be clear: you have the right to prosper. It's not selfish to want a better life. It's not wrong to desire money. It's not a sin to seek comfort, freedom, and abundance. Poverty is not nobility. Scarcity is not virtue. Whoever taught you this was trapped in their own limitations. Now you have the chance to break this cycle, to be the first in your family to think differently, act differently, and live differently. Now write in the comments, "I accept my prosperity." Repeat this until your mind accepts it as truth. Declare it, assume it, feel it. You are ready. Even if a part of you still doubts, keep going. Faith comes with movement, and prosperity comes to those who persist. In the following chapters, you'll dive into the specific principles that shape the wealthy mindset one by one. And the more you absorb, the more fertile your mind will become for generating ideas, attitudes, and behaviors that naturally attract money. You've come this far for a reason. Something inside you is awakening, something that may have been dormant for years, maybe even a lifetime, but now it's beginning to take shape, strength, and presence. This is your true potential. This is the version of you that always existed, but was stifled by beliefs, fears, inherited limitations, and external voices that didn't know what they were saying. This awakening is no coincidence. Your mind is undergoing an internal transformation. And like any transformation, at first it's confusing, uncomfortable, even messy. But over time, everything reorganizes, everything aligns, and what emerges next is stronger, clearer, more functional. A new mental structure with new thoughts, new habits, new feelings, and of course, new results. Let's now dive into a powerful, game-changing principle, the principle of financial identity. Identity is what you believe yourself to be, and whatever you believe yourself to be, you defend, even without realizing it. If you believe yourself to be unlucky, always failing, not born to have money, you will, unconsciously, behave in ways that confirm this. You will avoid risks, doubt opportunities, and shy away from decisions, all to keep this identity alive, even if it is destroying you from within. But if you change that identity, if you start to see yourself as someone born to grow, to thrive, to lead their own life, then everything changes, because you start acting differently. And when the action changes, the results change. But there's one catch. Your current identity wasn't built on logic. It was built on emotion, repetition, and environment. You absorbed what you heard from your parents, your friends, your school, and the television. And over time, it became your truth, even if it's a lie. Therefore, to change your financial identity, you need to use the same ingredients: emotion, repetition, and environment. You need to declare new emotional truths. You need to repeat these truths every day. And you need to surround yourself with a mental and physical environment that constantly reminds you of the new you. This is how your mind will embrace the change. And what is the identity you need to build? You need to see yourself as someone who creates money easily, someone who has value to the world, someone who thinks big, acts courageously, and learns from their mistakes, someone who isn't shaken by other people's opinions, someone who is clear about what they want and walks the walk with determination. But be careful. Identity isn't just what you think. It's what you feel. It's what you do when no one's looking. It's what you believe deep down, even when everything seems to be going wrong. Therefore, it's not enough to say positive things every now and then. You need to live this new identity until it becomes your automatic way of functioning. Start today, now. Say out loud, "I am a prosperous person. I am a creator of opportunities. I am worthy of wealth." Write it down, visualize it, and most importantly, act like it. Even if it feels uncomfortable at first, even if it feels like a lie. Keep going, Because the brain learns through repetition and emotion, and the more you repeat it emotionally, the faster your mind will accept it. Another powerful point: what you tolerate remains. If you tolerate scarcity, it remains. If you tolerate financial disorganization, it remains. If you tolerate negative thoughts, they remain. What you allow into your life is telling your mind what it should continue creating. So, start raising your standards. Tell yourself, I'm done living on the bare minimum. Start with small things. Organize your finances, take care of your space, choose better who you talk to. All of this tells your mind that the game is different now, that you're moving up a level. The rich mind has high standards. It doesn't settle for what's reasonable. It seeks the best, not out of pride or vanity, but because it knows it deserves it. Because it understands that the more abundant it is, the more it can contribute, expand, and impact. Money is an extension of your energy. If you're energetically disturbed, money feels it. If you're energetically aligned, money flows. And this flow begins with mental discipline. Every day, you need to affirm your new identity. You need to imagine, feel, and act accordingly. When the old sabotaging thought arises, and it will, you need to stop it. You need to say, this thought is no longer mine. You need to immediately replace it with a thought that empowers you. And make no mistake, this process requires vigilance. The old mind will try to come back. It will tell you that you're dreaming too much, that you're deluding yourself, that it won't work. And that's where you prove your strength. It's not by fighting it. It's by ignoring and reaffirming the new truth. You're not denying reality. You're creating a new one. Another important detail: you need to start acting like someone who's already rich, not with ostentation or arrogance, but with poise, with mindset, with responsibility. Rich people have discipline, clarity, and goals. They study, prepare, and put themselves in environments that challenge their limits. If you want to attract wealth, you need to behave like someone who already has it. Don't wait for money to arrive before changing. Change now, because inner change is what attracts outer change. Write in the comments now, my identity is that of a millionaire mind. This isn't just a pretty phrase. It's a statement that begins to become real the moment you decide to live it. Always remember, you are not what happened to you. You are what you decide to be from now on. Your financial identity is being rebuilt, and with it, your entire life will change. You will think differently, feel differently, act differently. And this will inevitably bring different results. In the next chapters, we'll continue expanding on these foundations. We'll explore more principles that will solidify this new mindset you're building. If you've made it this far, it's because something within you is truly changing. It's no longer just curiosity or mere interest. It's a real, profound, conscious transformation. You're accessing a new mental frequency. You're leaving behind the shackles of a scarcity mindset and beginning to walk firmly on the path to prosperity. This isn't just theory. This is daily practice. It's a change in identity, behavior, and most importantly, direction. Today, we are going to delve into a principle that few understand, but which is absolutely decisive: the principle of mental authority. This principle states, either you command your mind, or it will continue to be commanded by patterns you don't even know where they came from. The mind is like a territory, and if you don't position yourself as the leader, it will be dominated by old ideas, unresolved traumas, past fears, other people's beliefs, and external influences. Most people live with their minds as an uncontrolled field, where any thought can enter, any emotion can dominate, any idea can become truth. And this is a great risk, because the mind, when not under control, creates a chaotic life. It makes you doubt, procrastinate, and give up. It traps you in the past, scares you about the future, and prevents you from acting in the present. Therefore, the first step to establishing mental authority is to understand that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. And if you observe, you can choose. You can decide what stays and what is discarded. This simple understanding gives you a power most never experience, the power to choose your thoughts with intention. From now on, you'll start paying more attention to everything your mind tells you throughout the day, and you'll start asking yourself, does this thought strengthen or weaken me? If it weakens, discard it. If it strengthens, nourish it. and repeat. Because what you repeat, your mind understands as important. And what's important, it records. And what it records, it transforms into behavior. Now imagine the impact this has on your financial life. If you let your mind repeat thoughts like, "I'm bad with money," "This is too hard for me," "I always get in trouble," "I don't know how to handle this." These thoughts become commands that the mind follows. But if you start repeating, "I'm learning to master money," "Every day I become more financially aware," "I'm capable of creating and multiplying wealth," then your mind begins to behave according to these new instructions. Mental authority is also related to the use of words. When you speak, you shape your thoughts. And when you repeat them with emotion, you imprint them on your subconscious mind. Therefore, your words must be chosen with absolute care. Avoid negative phrases. Eliminate expressions like "I can't," "This doesn't work for me," "It's difficult," "It's tough," "I'm broke." These phrases reinforce a mental field of scarcity. Replace all of this with empowering affirmations, even if you don't see results yet. Because the mind needs to believe first before it can materialize. Say, "I am learning to prosper. My relationship with money is evolving. I deserve a rich and fulfilling life." Repeating these statements builds authority. Authority builds conviction, and conviction creates the behaviors that generate results. Another essential point, you need to train your mind not to react automatically. Scarcity is reactive. It responds with fear, anger, and victimhood. Abundance is conscious. It observes, evaluates, and responds wisely. And this is only possible when you take control of your internal state. Start noticing how you react to financial situations. When something unexpected happens, do you despair or do you take a deep breath and think about how to solve it? When you see someone prospering, do you feel envy or inspiration? When you receive money, do you feel fear of losing it or gratitude for having received it? All of these reactions reveal the current state of your mental authority, and the good news is that this can be trained. You can decide each day to respond differently. You can breathe before you react. You can choose higher-level thoughts. You can cultivate emotions that empower you. This is mastery. And mastery is what transforms a weak mind into a millionaire mind. A weak mind constantly seeks approval. It lives in fear of others' judgment. It constantly tries to fit in. A strong mind has clarity, it has poise, it has direction, and most importantly, it has the conviction that it's on the right path, even if no one else sees it. Therefore, practice inner silence. Not every thought that arises needs to be followed. Not every emotion that arises needs to be fed. You have the power to observe without reacting, to perceive without absorbing, to feel without being overwhelmed. What's more, you have the power to intentionally instill new thoughts daily. Through affirmations, visualizations, declarations, and decisions, all of this reinforces your authority, and authority gives you command, and whoever commands their own mind commands their own life. But be careful, authority isn't rigidity. It's not closing yourself off, it's not becoming a stone, it's becoming aware. It's being flexible when necessary, but firm in your principles. It's knowing when to give in and when to stand your ground. It's understanding that you may have doubts, but you don't need to be dominated by them. A powerful exercise to strengthen your mental authority is to create a daily alignment ritual. It can be done in the morning or before bed. The important thing is that it's consistent. In this ritual, you'll repeat your affirmations, visualize your goals, be grateful for what you already have, and declare your intention for the day or the future. This small ritual, if done with sincerity, completely transforms the way your mind operates. You start your day in control, not waiting for something good to happen, but deciding how you'll feel, how you'll think, how you'll act. This is what rich people do. They don't wait for external factors to change before taking a stand. They take a stand, and the world responds to their stand. Write in the comments now, "I command my mind." This simple statement is a reminder, a point of strength, a milestone. And the more you repeat it, the more you align with it. Don't forget, wealth isn't the result of hard work alone. It's the result of a mind that knows where it's going, that recognizes its worth, that refuses to live on autopilot. A mind that has authority over itself, a mind that has already decided to prosper. In the next chapters, we'll continue establishing the principles that solidify this transformation. Because now that you've started, there's no turning back. Your new self is already taking shape. Now that you understand the power of taking command of your own mind, it's time to explore a principle that complements everything that has been said so far. The principle of internal merit. Have you ever noticed how many people, even when they make some money, quickly lose it? Or when an opportunity presents itself, they sabotage or doubt it until it slips away. This happens for a much deeper reason than it seems. They still don't feel worthy of it. It doesn't matter how hard someone works, studies, or struggles. If deep down they believe they don't deserve much, whatever comes will be lost, rejected, or sabotaged. Because the mind won't let you keep something you believe isn't for you. It will always try to return to the level you consider acceptable. It's like a thermostat. Imagine an air conditioner. If you set it to 22 degrees, it works to maintain that temperature. If the room gets hot, it cools. If it gets too cold, it heats. The mind does the same thing with money. If your financial thermostat is set to the lowest setting, every time you try to raise it, it will pull it back down. It will make you forget to pay a bill, buy something unnecessary, make a bad choice, and you'll return to your previous level. So the secret isn't just to make more money. It's to raise your internal level of worthiness. It's to reset your mental thermostat. It's to believe that you deserve it, that you can do it, that you are ready. But this doesn't happen with empty words. The mind isn't convinced by phrases you don't feel. Therefore, you need to build merit from the inside out. You need to understand why you deserve more. You need to connect your prosperity to a greater purpose. You need to realize the value that exists within you. Because when the mind understands that having more will make you grow, contribute, and evolve, it stops sabotaging and starts cooperating. And here comes a fundamental point. Many people confuse entitlement with arrogance. They think that feeling worthy means being conceited, and proud. But this is a mistake. Feeling worthy isn't about believing yourself better than others. It's about recognizing that you have value, that you are enough, that you have as much right as anyone else to live well, to have comfort, freedom, and security. So, start now by listing everything you've faced, everything you've overcome, everything you've learned, everything you've built, even if it seems small, because this is living proof that you have strength, that you've grown, and that you're more than ready for the next level. Inner worth is strengthened by recognition. When you recognize yourself, you stop seeking external validation. You stop begging for attention, for approval. You begin to walk with confidence. And when this confidence emerges, life responds. Because the universe doesn't deliver great blessings to those who still shrink. It delivers them to those who take a stand, to those who say, "I'm ready," to those who live as if they're already on the next level. Now beware of the almost addiction. There are people who live in the almost mode. They almost closed a good deal. They almost saved money. They almost got promoted. They almost changed their lives. And this almost is directly linked to a lack of internal merit, because when the time comes, the mind sabotages. It makes people back off, hesitate, and make excuses, all because they don't yet feel worthy. You need to break this cycle. You need to decide that almost is no longer enough, that you won't stop halfway, that you'll go all the way, even with fear, even with doubts, even without guarantees, because that's how merit is built, in movement, in action, in commitment. And here's a powerful exercise. Every day when you wake up, say to yourself out loud, "I am worthy of the rich life I am building." Say it while looking into your eyes, in the mirror. Say it while feeling it. Say it even if your mind doubts it, because this daily repetition will begin to reprogram your self-perception. Another way to strengthen your inner merit is to act with excellence. Make the best of what you have now. Organize your space. Take care of what's yours. Treat your money with respect. Act with the same attitude you would if you were already at your ideal level of wealth. This sends a clear signal to your mind, "I'm ready." And when the mind believes this, it stops resisting and begins to create. Remember, life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you believe you deserve. And this worthiness isn't magical, nor is it automatic. It's built, it's earned, it's reinforced every day with words, thoughts, and actions. Another key point is comparison. Stop comparing yourself. When you look at others and feel inferior, Your mind understands that you're not on the same level, and this further lowers your sense of worth. Instead of comparing yourself, be inspired. Instead of envying, admire. This completely changes your energy. Write now in the comments, "I am worthy of wealth." This is more than a phrase. It's a code you're installing in your mind. It's a declaration that you no longer accept living below your potential, that you recognize your worth, and that you're ready to receive more, keep more, and multiply more. In the next chapters, we'll delve even deeper into reprogramming your internal wealth pattern. Because knowing isn't enough. You have to feel it. And feeling isn't enough. You have to live it. Now that you understand that your level of wealth is directly proportional to your internal level of worthiness, let's delve even deeper into an often ignored truth. Wealth responds to clarity. The mind doesn't work well in the dark. Anything vague, undefined, confusing, or poorly explained becomes mental noise, and noise impedes action. If you want your mind to start working for you, seeking paths, ideas, connections, and decisions aligned with prosperity, then you need to give it clear instructions. Clarity is the map, and without a map you're going in circles. Let's get straight to the point. Most people don't get rich not because they can't, but because they don't know exactly what they want. They say, "I want a lot of money." But how much? "I want a better life." But what would that life be like? "I want to get out of debt." But what will they do with financial freedom when it comes? If you don't know what you want clearly, your mind has no frame of reference. And if it has no frame of reference, it will operate in default mode. And default mode is survival, not thriving. So take note of this phrase. The mind executes clear orders with precision. And this order needs to be clear on all levels: rational, emotional, and behavioral. It's no use just writing it down on paper. You need to feel what you want. You need to visualize it in detail. You need to imagine it frequently. You need to see yourself in that reality as if you were already part of it. For example, instead of saying, "I want to earn more money," write, "I want to earn $15,000 per month net by December of this year through an activity that allows me free time and personal satisfaction." See the difference? Your mind now has a number, a deadline, a feeling, and a context. This clarity causes your brain to begin filtering the world's information through different eyes. What previously went unnoticed now catches your attention. An opportunity, a person, an idea, a book. You begin to see what was previously invisible, not because the world has changed, but because you've changed your lens. Another example, instead of saying, "I want to get out of debt," say, "I'm paying off $20,000 in debt by July of next year, maintaining my emotional balance, organizing my spending, and creating additional sources of income." This gives you direction. It organizes your energy. It communicates to your mind that you're in control. Clarity has a direct effect on your behavior. When you know exactly what you want, you start acting with more focus. You stop wasting time on distractions. You stop following random ideas. You stop accepting whatever comes your way. Because now you have a set of criteria. And when you have a set of criteria, you say no more to what holds you back and yes more to what brings you closer. And what's more, clarity breeds confidence. When you say to yourself, "I know exactly where I'm going," your posture changes. Your energy changes. People notice it. The world notices it. And opportunities come because the universe responds to those who know what they want with force. Now be careful. Clarity isn't rigidity. You can adjust the path. You can change the plan. You can adapt your strategies. But the destination needs to be visible. If you can't see the destination, any deviation feels like a failure. But when the destination is clear, detours become learning opportunities. So do this now. Take a notebook, a piece of paper, anything, and write in detail. How much money do you want to have in the account? Until when? How do you intend to generate this value? What will your routine be like with this new income level? How will you feel? What will you do with this money? What impact will this have on your life and the lives of others? Write everything down, calmly, truthfully, with emotion. This is more than an exercise. It's programming. It's installing a new mental system. And it's not enough to write it down once. Reread it every day. Feel it. Visualize it. Be grateful as if it were already real. Because the mind doesn't differentiate between something intensely visualized and something physically experienced. For the subconscious, what you repeat with emotion becomes reality. Clarity also dispels doubt, and doubt is one of the biggest blockers to prosperity. When you're in doubt, you paralyze. When you're confused, you procrastinate. When you're unsure, you hesitate. And hesitation is costly. It wastes time, opportunities, and energy. So, whenever you feel doubt, go back to the paper. Go back to your statement of clarity. Go back to your vision. It recenters you, it reconnects you, it empowers you. And here's another important detail. Clarity isn't just about what you want to achieve. It's also about what you no longer accept. You need to declare, I no longer accept living trapped in debt. I no longer accept working just to pay bills. I no longer accept living on autopilot. These statements eliminate gray areas, and the mind needs contrast. It needs definition. Write in the comments now. My financial vision is clear and powerful. This is more than a mantra. It's a reminder that you're in control, that your mind is already being programmed to take you exactly where you want to go. Clarity frees you from the greatest mental poison of scarcity, the feeling of being lost. Because when you're lost, any path seems right. But when you know where you're going, you choose firmly. And this firmness is magnetic. It attracts the right people, the right ideas, the right opportunities. In the next chapters, we'll continue refining your mental programming. We'll expand your ability to maintain this new focus, even in the face of distractions, pressures, and old habits that will try to pull you back. Because wealth isn't about speed. It's about consistency. Once you understand that clarity is the foundation of any solid financial construction, you need to absorb a principle that strengthens and sustains this clarity: constancy. Without consistency, all clarity becomes an empty promise. Without consistency, every desire becomes just another unsuccessful attempt. Consistency is what separates those who desire from those who actually achieve. It doesn't matter how much you want to change your life. The world is full of people who do. The difference lies in those who take action every day, even when they're not motivated, even when they're tired, even when it seems like nothing is changing. The rich mind understands this. It doesn't expect immediate results. It builds. It plants. It nurtures. It knows that every transformation process goes through phases. In the beginning, it seems like nothing is happening. And that's when most people stop, because they've been conditioned to seek quick gratification. They've been trained to want everything yesterday. And wealth doesn't work that way. Wealth requires a slow, consistent, and progressive mental process. You don't change a scarcity mindset that's been ingrained over years with just one reading or a one-day decision. You change with daily repetition, with small, constant adjustments, with intentional actions taken every day, even when no one is looking. And this is where the force of habit comes in. Consistency is sustained by habits, and habits are like roots. The deeper they are, the more stable you are. The right habits put you on autopilot for growth. The wrong habits keep you stuck in a cycle of stagnation. Now stop for a moment and think, what are your money habits? Do you keep track of your spending? Do you have a planning routine? Do you set aside time to study finances, even in simple terms? Do you take time to visualize your goals, repeat your affirmations, and reinforce your new identity? Consistency doesn't take much time. It requires commitment. 5 minutes a day of consciously reprogramming your mind is worth more than a single hour-long video that you forget the next day. What transforms you isn't the size of the action, it's the frequency. But why is it so hard to be consistent? Because the old mind, the one programmed for scarcity, doesn't like change. It wants comfort. It wants to repeat what it already knows. It wants to conserve energy. So every time you start to transform, it reacts, it distracts you, it sabotages you, it makes you forget. And this is where you need to use your emotional intelligence. You need to understand that difficulty maintaining consistency isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're disrupting deep structures, and changing these structures requires inner strength, not brute force, but persistence, awareness, daily choices. Consistency is also key to breaking the belief that this doesn't work for me. Many people start reprogramming themselves, start visualizing, start declaring, and after a week say, I'm not seeing results. Saasai, but what you've built over a lifetime can't be deconstructed in 7 days. The mind needs repetition, consistency, and time. Most people stop before the first result, and they lose it right at the turning point. You need to decide that you'll keep going even when the results don't appear. Because internally, they're already happening. You just don't see them yet. But your mind is already changing. Your choices are changing. Your energy is changing. And when this aligns for long enough, the results come, and when they do, they come quickly. But they are the result of consistency, not luck. Another important point, consistency isn't rigidity. You don't have to always do things the same way. You can adjust, you can adapt, you can improve the method. But what you can't do is abandon it. If something isn't working, change the approach, not the goal. Constancy is continuing the movement, even if the rhythm changes. Now here's a practical tip. Have a 10-minute ritual every day, just 10 minutes. In that time you will state your statements in a firm voice. Visualize your ideal financial life as if you were already living it. Feel gratitude for everything you already have today. Plan a small action aligned with what you want to build. This simple ritual, if performed daily, will reprogram your mind more than any theory, because it combines thought, emotion, and action. And that's the formula for reprogramming. Thinking without feeling doesn't generate change. Feeling without action doesn't generate results. You need to align everything, and do it every day. And whenever you feel like quitting, ask yourself, what will happen if I quit now? Because the truth is harsh. To stop is to go back to square one. To stop is to betray the new version that's being built. To stop is to reinforce the old pattern that brought you here. You can't afford that luxury anymore. Now you know too much to pretend you don't know. Now you see that transformation is possible. Now you're halfway there, and the only option is to keep going. Right now in the comments, I am constant in building my wealth. Repeat this phrase for a few days. Write it down, on your mirror, on your phone. Make it part of your system. Consistency will give you something no strategy in the world can offer: self-mastery. And those who master themselves can master any area of life, including money. In the next chapters, we'll continue building the mental framework for your new life. And the further you progress, the more your mind will understand. This is for me, I can do it, I deserve it, I'm living this. You're developing a new mental model. And make no mistake, this mental model is the foundation of everything you'll achieve from now on. Without a prepared mind, even the most incredible opportunities go unnoticed. The right person isn't just the one who wants something, but the one who's ready to recognize and act when it arises. So today we're going to delve into an often overlooked, but absolutely essential principle: opening to receive. It may seem strange at first glance, but many people reject money. Yes, they do. Not with direct words, but with behaviors, thoughts, and feelings that push prosperity away. And most strikingly, they do this without realizing it. Let's understand this clearly. When you feel guilty about making money, you are rejecting it. When you think you are earning too much for what you do, you are rejecting it. When you believe that you can only get money by suffering a lot, you are rejecting. When you are ashamed to say you want to get rich, you are rejecting it. When you don't know how to receive a compliment, don't accept help. Don't know how to receive a gift. You are also training your mind to refuse any kind of abundance. The mind is trained by small reactions. If it gets used to saying no to small things, it will also say no when a great opportunity knocks. Therefore, one of the keys to the millionaire mind is sincere openness to receiving. And the first step to opening yourself to receiving is becoming comfortable with abundance. This is a huge challenge for those raised in environments where money was always scarce, criticized, or a source of conflict. If you grew up hearing that money was a problem, that rich people are greedy, that the world is unfair, that prosperity is difficult, your mind has associated wealth with suffering, fear, and judgment, and it will avoid these at all costs. The good news? These associations can be changed. The first thing you need to do is review your beliefs about money. Grab a piece of paper and write down everything that comes to mind when you think about money. Write it down without censoring it. Then read it out loud and ask yourself, do these ideas help me or hinder me? Those that block you need to be replaced, not just erased, replaced with new, true, empowering ideas. For example, money is hard to come by. Money comes more easily as I become more prepared. Those who have a lot of money are selfish. The more I have, the more I can contribute to others. I don't know how to handle money. I'm learning to take better care of my money every day. These exchanges need to be made constantly. The mind learns through repetition, and the more you repeat new ideas, the more they take hold. But exchanging words alone isn't enough. You need to train your willingness to receive, and that starts with simple details. When someone offers you help, accept it. When someone compliments you, thank them sincerely. When a new opportunity arises, analyze it with curiosity, not fear. A rich mind lives in a state of openness. It's always ready to welcome whatever arrives. And this isn't naivety, it's intelligence. Because when you're closed off, even good things seem like threats. But when you're open, even challenges become opportunities for growth. And here's a powerful practice. Every day say out loud with conviction, I am open to receive all the good that the universe has for me. At first, your mind may resist. It may feel strange, but persist. Repeat. Live as someone who is already in this state of receptivity. Another practical way to practice this openness is to work your body. Yes, your body. Your body and posture send constant signals to your mind. A closed, contracted, and downcast body communicates insecurity and fear. An upright body, breathing fully and with broad gestures, communicates confidence, presence, and openness. Start walking with your head held high, breathing deeply, looking people in the eye, thanking them sincerely, accepting compliments without justifying them. This may seem small, but it builds a new standard of worthiness and presence. And remember, receiving isn't passivity. Receiving is allowing what you've already built in thoughts, habits, attitudes to finally manifest. Many people think that thriving is just doing. But doing too much without allowing yourself to receive becomes exhaustion. Wealth also requires pause. Wealth requires space. So another exercise, create space for prosperity. Look at your home, your surroundings. Is it full of accumulated things? Disorganized? Things you no longer use? What's around you also sends signals to your mind. When you remove the excess, clear the energy, and organize the environment, your mind understands, now there's room for something new. And this applies to your schedule as well. If your routine is overloaded, with no breathing room, no time for the unexpected or for creativity, your mind doesn't feel free to create new paths. It only reacts. And those who only react don't grow rich. Those who grow rich create. Reflect now. Where in your life have you refused to receive? It may be a help you always refuse. It may be advice you ignore out of pride. It might be an idea you dismiss without thinking. It could even be a compliment that you counter with an apology. All of this is telling your mind, I'm not ready for more. And the mind, obedient as it is, will agree with you. It will close the doors. You don't want that. You want your mind to say, yes, I am ready. Yes, I am open. Yes, I receive with gratitude and intelligence. Right now in the comments, I am open to receive. Say it with intention. Feel it. Declare it to your internal system. In the next chapters, we will continue installing this new programming. Because abundance doesn't enter where there is resistance. It enters where there is conscious acceptance, clarity, and space. You've reached the 10th part of this journey. That already says a lot about you. Most people stop at the beginning, get distracted halfway through, forget along the way. But not you. You're here, you're firm, you're determined, you're investing time in building your new mindset. And this investment is the most valuable there is, because it doesn't just yield money. It yields freedom, clarity, decision-making power, autonomy, and no one can take that away from you. Today, we're going to explore one of the most ignored principles by those who want to get rich, the energy of money. Yes, money has energy, but don't worry, it's not in the esoteric or mystical sense. We're talking about energy in terms of movement, direction, and intention. Everything you do with money carries energy. The way you think about it, talk about it, and handle it all shapes how money behaves in your life. Money is not an end. Money is a means. It doesn't have its own personality, but it reflects yours. It amplifies what you already are. If you're generous, you'll be more generous with money. If you're fearful, you'll be more fearful of money. If you're insecure, money will increase that insecurity. Therefore, what needs to change first is not how much you have, but how you relate to it. Let's get straight to the point. Is your relationship with money based on fear or trust? Stop and think about this honestly. Are you afraid of losing what you have? Do you feel guilty when you spend money on something good for you? Do you feel embarrassed when you have to charge someone? Do you feel angry when you see someone with more money than you? All of this reveals a blocked energy with money. And where energy is blocked, there is no flow. Money needs movement. It comes to those who know how to use it, circulate it, and value it. Those who hold on too much out of fear become paralyzed. Those who spend it without conscience waste it. Balance is in the middle: awareness, direction, and presence. Let's talk about presence. Are you present when dealing with money? Or do you act automatically? Do you buy without thinking? Do you avoid checking your balance, afraid to open your statement? This escape is the mind's way of saying, "This is not my territory." And until you dominate this territory, it will continue to dominate you. A rich person, and we're talking about mindset, not bank account, is one who is fully aware of their money. They know how much they earn. They know how much they spend. They know where it's going, and most importantly, they know why they want more. Because the money you want needs a mission. Money without a mission is lost. Money with a purpose grows. You need to know, what am I going to do with the money I'm creating? This isn't about the spreadsheet. This is about intention. When money has a clear purpose, your mind cooperates. When he doesn't have it, his mind wanders. You need to create a vision. What will you do with more money? Who will be impacted by this? How will you feel living this reality? Write this down. Read it every day, because the money you don't have yet is waiting for direction. And this direction begins in thought. Now let's talk about another energy, the energy of respect. Money needs to be respected. This does not mean fear or idolatry. It means not wasting, not ignoring, not using it as an outlet for unresolved emotions. How many times have you bought something just to feel better emotionally? How many times have you spent just trying to fill a void? This type of use distorts the energy of money. It becomes an anesthetic. It becomes an escape. It becomes a hole. A rich mind doesn't use money to hide emotions. It uses money to expand life. And here's the key. Money is expansion. It expands, it empowers, it liberates. But only when it comes from a clean, conscious, and determined place. So from now on, before you spend, ask yourself, is this aligned with the life I'm building? Will this expense bring me closer or further away from my vision? Am I spending consciously or on impulse? These simple questions clear the energy of money. And what's more, every time you receive any amount, be grateful, even if it seems like little. What you are grateful for grows. What you ignore disappears. Gratitude is one of the most powerful energies for activating prosperity. But it's not a mechanical gratitude, it's a heartfelt gratitude. It's saying to your mind, I recognize this value, I want more of it, I'm ready to receive more. And the more you create this cycle, clear intention, conscious use, constant gratitude, the more your mind begins to operate on another level. You stop anxiously chasing money, start attracting money with maturity. And here is a truth that few have the courage to accept. Money comes more easily to those who don't idolize it, but understand it. Idolatry creates scarcity. Understanding creates fluidity. And the more you understand, the more you respect. And the more you respect, the more you grow. Right now in the comments, I take care of my money's energy. Repeat this in your thoughts every day, and watch how your relationship with money begins to change. You will stop running away, will stop hiding, will stop using it as anesthesia. You will begin to decide with awareness and intention each financial step. In the next chapters, we will continue to expand your view of money. You will understand how the environment around you, the voices you hear, the thoughts you entertain, all of this influences the flow of wealth in your life. We've reached a crucial point in this transformation, perceiving the environment as a direct reflection of your mindset. This is the principle of invisible influence. Everything around you, absolutely everything, is influencing the way you think, feel, and act regarding money. And the most dangerous part, this happens silently, without you even realizing it. So today you'll learn how to identify and break out of the environments that keep you in the cycle of scarcity, and how to build environments that nourish your new rich mindset every day. Environment is more than the physical place where you live. Environment is also the content you consume, the people you talk to, the words you hear every day, the energy that circulates in your home, the thoughts you accept as truth. All this is mental environment, and your mind is shaped by that environment. If you live in a place where talking about money is taboo, your mind starts to treat money as something dirty. If you keep hearing that rich people are dishonest, your mind will associate wealth with guilt. If you are in a messy, disorganized house, your mind understands that order is not a priority. If you consume content about fear, scarcity, or crisis, your mind goes into defense mode. And the mind in defense mode does not create. It only survives. So what you need to do from now on is take full control of the environment that feeds your mind. Start by observing your home. Does it reflect the life you want to live? Or does it remind you of the scarcity you want to leave behind? How is your desk, your clothes, your resting space? Do you have a place where you can think clearly, write down your goals, declare your affirmations? The house is an extension of the mind, and organizing the house is like reorganizing your head. Let go of excess. Eliminate what ties you to the past. Make room for the new. It's not about luxury, it's about consistency. A simple space can be extremely powerful if it is clean, organized, and filled with intention. You don't have to wait to get rich to live more orderly. You live in order to become rich. Now think about the people you spend the most time with. Do they talk about growth or problems? Do they encourage you or drain you? Do they remind you of your strength or reinforce your limitations? You don't need to cut ties, but you do need to protect your mind. If someone around you keeps talking about scarcity, don't argue. Just filter it. Listen less, engage less. Spend less energy trying to convince. Use this energy to strengthen yourself from within. You don't owe your transformation to anyone, but you owe your mind an environment of stimulation and expansion. And this also applies to the content you consume. Everything that enters through your vision and hearing shapes your beliefs. If you spend hours consuming negative news, futile videos, failure stories, comparisons on social media, your mind will sink. Even if you have good intentions, even if you're trying to think positive, the negativity of the environment will nullify your inner efforts. So, select. Be ruthless with what enters your mind. Watch content that empowers you. Read books that expand you. Listen to voices that lift you up. Repeat thoughts that empower you. And more. Create a micro-environment of prosperity within yourself. Every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes, enter this mental environment. Visualize your life rich in detail. Feel what you will feel when this becomes reality. State your truths firmly. I am worthy. I am prosperous. I am constantly growing. My mind attracts solutions and opportunities. This internal environment will begin to influence the external environment. You will change your words. Go dress better. You will behave with more dignity. It will demand more respect. And the world will respond. The right opportunities don't come to the smartest or most talented. They come to those who are aligned. Aligned with what you think, with what you feel, with what you build around you. So ask yourself now, what part of my current environment is dragging me down? What habit, person, or space is reinforcing scarcity in my mind? What can I change today to give my mind a new signal? And now write in the comments, I am building an environment of wealth around me. This statement needs to be accompanied by action. Be organized your desk, whether it's cleaning a room in your house, be it unfollowing negative pages, be it saying no to conversations that don't elevate you. Environment is not destiny, it's choice. And when you choose to live in an environment that nurtures your wealth, you begin to become that wealth, because a mind that grows never returns to its previous size. In the next chapters, we'll delve deeper into building this millionaire mindset system, reinforcing the emotional, mental, and behavioral foundations that transform wealth from a distant dream into a natural reflection of who you're becoming. Now that you understand the impact of your environment on your mindset and how it shapes your decisions, it's time to establish a principle that defines how well you can maintain and multiply the wealth that comes your way. This is the principle of financial identity. Your financial life will never be bigger than the image you have of yourself when it comes to money. Yes, that's right. You may have access to information, tools, tips, and even receive a large windfall. But if you still identify as someone who isn't good with money or who wasn't born for it, you'll lose everything. Sooner or later, what you have will be adjusted to the level of your self-image. So listen to this carefully. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you believe you are. Your identity works like a magnet, and this magnet is formed by everything you repeat to yourself daily. If you keep saying, "I'm disorganized, I never have any left over, I can't manage my money, I'm not good with numbers, money confuses me, this isn't for me," you're reinforcing an identity of scarcity. And this identity is like an invisible fence. You even try to leave, but you always come back to the same place. People who win lottery prizes but don't have a financial identity that matches their wealth lose everything. They don't know who they are in front of money. They do not have the internal structure to support the new level. Money comes in but soon goes out. Why? Because their belief system is still stuck in the old me. So what to do? The answer is simple, but bears repeating. You need to build a new identity, and identity is not a concept. It's a set of patterns. It's the thoughts you cultivate, the words you use, the attitudes you repeat, the environment you maintain, the decisions you make even when no one is looking. The new financial identity needs to be lived. You don't wait to get rich to start thinking like a rich person. You start thinking rich so that wealth will come. And what is the mindset of someone with a millionaire identity? Think long-term. Take responsibility for everything that happens. Don't outsource blame. Don't spend to impress. Spend to grow. Don't expect money to solve your feelings. Sort out your feelings so the money flows. Seize opportunities where others only see problems. Don't live in the "if it works out." Live in the "it will work out because I'm going to make it work out." You need to start behaving in accordance with the financial identity you want to assume. There's no point in thinking about wealth and acting like someone out of control. There's no point in saying you want financial freedom and continuing to make impulsive decisions. There's no point saying you want to grow if, in practice, you're fostering the habits of someone who's stagnant. The secret is in consistency. Repeat after me out loud. My identity is aligned with the wealth I am building. Now write this sentence on a piece of paper. Leave it where you can see it every day. Because identity is shaped by the repetition of references. The more you see, the more you believe. And the more you believe, the more you act. And the more it acts, the more it reinforces. And when you reinforce, you transform. Another essential point. Your financial identity is not defined by your history. It doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter how much debt you've had. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you made. What matters is the decision you make from now on. Because identity is constructed in the present. With every choice, every action, every conscious thought, you reconfigure your financial self. So start with small rituals, simple things, but made with conscience. Organize your wallet. Pay attention to your expenses. Set a fixed time each week to take care of your finances. Write down everything that comes in and goes out, even if it's just in a notebook. Set aside $1 per day for your new financial identity. This ritual puts you in charge, and whoever is in command recognizes themselves as the leader of their own life. And remember, your new identity doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be intentional. You don't need to know everything. You need to be committed to learning. You don't have to act like a millionaire. You need to act like someone under construction. And whoever is under construction brings movement, and movement generates transformation. Finally, understand that your new financial identity needs protection. You are building something new, and it will always be challenged. Some people will scoff. Others will try to pull you back into old habits, and your old mind will try to sabotage you. But you already know you are not the same anymore. So, write now in the comments, "I'm embracing my new financial identity." Write firmly. This is your public declaration that you will no longer negotiate with scarcity. You are choosing to become someone that money respects, recognizes, and sticks around with. In the next chapters, we will continue this construction. We'll reinforce the codes that solidify your rich identity, shield your mindset from sabotage, and expand your ability to maintain everything that's about to arrive. I'll leave a playlist here on the screen so you can continue listening about wealth. Be patient, it will come.